Knossos and Heraklion were fantastic. We were picked up from our hotel and then drove to Knossos. Although the tour was offered in English and French, there was also a guide for the German-speaking guests. And what can I say? She was amazing. She always managed to guide us past the large groups and made the tour very lively and informative. We had the advantage of being a small group of 9 participants, so we essentially had a private tour of Knossos. She was also very accommodating to a couple with a hearing impairment and took breaks so that everything could be translated into sign language. After a short bus ride, we arrived in Heraklion, where she showed us the museum and the lion fountain, telling us more about them. Afterwards, we had a good 2 hours to explore the market. There simply wasn't enough time for more, and Heraklion is definitely worth another visit. For the return trip to the hotel, we essentially had a private taxi, which was because we were the only guests who needed to return to that location, and the driver dropped us off directly at reception. All in all, a wonderful and informative excursion with a fantastic tour guide. I would gladly book through WIA Tour again. A great option compared to the excursions offered by the tour operator. Excellent tour. The guide communicated via earpieces which worked very well. This particular tour was an early stop at Knossos before it got too hot and too busy, which we were very pleased about. The guide was very informative and the pace was not too quick, with plenty of stops in the shade. Take water. Although it takes about an hour and a half, you will get thirsty. Then on to Heraklion, and it was so much better to have a short guided walk through the old town to get our bearings. We had about 3 hours and decided to visit the Archaeological Museum, which is absolutely worth it to see all the treasures from Knossos. We spent so long in there we only had time for a quick drink before the drive back, but would thoroughly recommend a visit to the museum. Really enjoyed our day. This is an absolute do not miss experience. Our tour guide was incredibly knowledgeable and the total cost was much less than a taxi would have been for just 2 people. We didn't have time for the museum, but the palace was amazing and we had a great time in the city getting food we didn't have access to in the village where we were staying. There isn't much shade at the palace, so remember sun cream and a sun hat, as we did see a young woman faint from the heat. You are given little radios which are connected to a mic on the tour guide, so you can always hear your guide. The different languages are also on different channels, so you don't have to listen to the other language if you don't want to. Great no thrills guided tour of World Heritage Site, Knossos, with expert commentary followed by pre-lunch visit to some historical landmarks in Heraklion. Free time adequate for quick bite to eat before exploration of harbor and external view of Venetian Fortress. Day rounded off by visiting excellent National Museum. Helen, the tour guide, was welcoming and very knowledgeable. Coach drivers were polite and got us to venues through some busy traffic with consummate skill. We'll enjoy looking through the many pictures of the day when holiday comes to an end. It pays to book a knowledgeable guide and start your tour early, because this place pulls in crowds willing to sacrifice valuable beach/pool time to the Minotaur. Our tour day was still a test of endurance due to the sultry weather and full sun, but very enjoyable. This should be combined with a visit to Archaeological Museum, I feel, because many of the authenticity artifacts are actually stored there, leaving you to only view replicas in situ. Don't dare forget your sunscreen, hat, sun hat and curiosity. Very good trip, picked up from hotel and taken to Knossos. Earpieces worked well and we got lots of really interesting information whilst being guided round the site. The second part was the same bus to Heraklion city center, where the guide gave us some quick tips and showed us around, which took about 10 minutes, and then we were left to explore ourselves. Very good value for money and would recommend this trip to friends and family.